Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Girl Talk Mental Health dares to go where others won't. We unpack the hard truths about mental health, dissect trending topics, and challenge the stereotypes and stigmas holding us back. From navigating the 6 dimensions of wellness to redefining social norms, this is more than a discussion. It's a revolution in how we care for our minds and souls. Ready for bold, honest conversations that spark change? Let's dive in. It's time for real talk with real impact.
Welcome back to Girl Talk Mental Health, the show where we break down mental health topics in a real, relatable, and empowering way. I'm your host, Virginia Dale Manning, licensed mental health therapist and impact speaker, and today we're diving into a topic that so many of us struggle with. Can you guess? It's April, and that means it's Stress Awareness Month. So all month we have had some powerful speakers, some guest speakers, some tips and tools about how to alleviate your stress. And today we have another special guest. So before we let her come onto the stage, I want you to think about, how do we stay calm in the chaos? And how do we keep our peace when life feels overwhelming? And most importantly, if you've ever felt stress, like it's running you low and it's showing up in your life, today's episode is just for you. And once again, we have our special guest, Nicola Noel. She's a hypnotherapist and mindset coach, and she's going to help us with some practical, mindful practices that would help you to navigate stressful times with more ease and control. So grab your notebook, because these tips could change your life forever. So welcome her to the stage. So welcome, friend. So let the
Hello.
audience know a little bit about you.
So my name's Nicola Noel. As you can tell from the accent, I am British and I am a specialist psychiatric nurse, and I have been for over 2 decades, a solution-focused hypnotherapist and a transformational slash mindset coach. And I own a business called Brainworks Therapy. So I've worked within the mental health, psychiatric industry for over 2 decades. I've worked in everything from perinatal psychiatry, which is mother and baby, all the way to forensic, which is judicial and custodial. So you will find me managing some of the UK's most notorious criminals and murderers. So managing their mental health care, their holistic care.
Ooh, that sounds interesting and fun. It was like almost a private detective or something. A mental private detective. Okay, so we are excited for you to be here today. Are you ready to jump in so we can bless our audience with the plethora of information and tips and tools we have for them today?
I cannot wait.
Cannot wait. Okay, so here we go. So stress seems to be at an all-time high for many people, right? I think this is global and international, all across the world. So from your experience, what are some of the biggest stress triggers people face today?
Well, stress is very much like the clingy ex who just won't leave and you cannot get rid of. And it's always showing up when you least expect it. But today's triggers, they're relentless, aren't they? The cost of living crisis, and I know you have that across the pond as well. Work burnout, the pressure of social media perfection, and for most people and most people of colour, navigating systemic biases and microaggressions on top of everything else is really difficult. So the mental load is real. And let's not forget juggling work, family, personal life, because let's face it, balance often feels like a mythical creature that nobody's ever seen.
I love it. You just have so many analogies. What you said, like the X that don't go away, and this mythical creature. We can tell you are expert because you're using all these analogies and just colorizing the whole phenomenon and epidemic of how we need to get rid of stress, which is the most important thing. So,
Yes.
with mindfulness, it's often mentioned as a solution for stress. But what
Mhm.
does it really mean, and how can someone start practicing mindfulness daily?
Okay, so first and foremost, when we say mindfulness, a lot of people are just turned off, will just get the ick, won't they? Because they'll think it's sitting there and saying, And it can be if you're on a spiritual journey, but that is not it for everybody. So mindfulness isn't just sitting in the lotus position and, got your fingers and ready to do the pose and the chanting. It's about presence. It's about choosing to anchor yourself in the now instead of stepping on that spiral staircase, and we're not on about the crisps, and just being full of regret and full of worries and thinking about the future. Think of it like this: instead of inhaling your coffee in the morning while like doom scrolling, actually taste your coffee, smell it, feel it, wrap your hands around that coffee cup. Those simple shifts make big impacts. So one of the things that I do with my clients and to get them grounded is the 5 4 3 2 1 technique. So 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. Or you do box breathing, breathe in for 4 through the nose, hold for 4, and breathe out the mouth through 4. Or mindful walking. So when you're walking, how about, depending on where you live, so I get if you want to walk with music, but if you can go somewhere, how about just walking with your headphones out, noticing the trees? Have you ever just stopped to notice the flowers, or maybe just stop to like put your hand on a tree and just breathe and just be? We are so busy being human doings instead of being human beings and
Mhm.
being in, that center. And for people of color, and a lot of us are brought up in a spiritual background. So how about connecting to prayer? So we're not on about, people think they have to do all this like sort of fancy prayer and oh God, and like, just how about just sitting down and having an open conversation like you would with your friend? Like, just, you know what, I'm feeling it today. I need to call you in. I need your help. I need you to carry me. I need you to be here for me. Or storytelling, connecting with your roots, whether that's, I know you got soul food over there. For us, it's like our Caribbean food. If you're from the
Mm.
Caribbean, like our curried goat, our rice and peas, or the spices from the island, or even just like rhythmic movement, whether that's going to a drumming class, whether that's going to a dancing class, whether that's been in your house and putting music on. So is that a bit of gospel, or is that a bit of reggae, or is that a bit of bashment? Whatever your jam is, take time to check in and connect, because sometimes, when's the last time that we sat down and we were just like, how do I feel, or what do I need in this moment? Putting your hand on your heart and saying, what is it I need?
That's interesting. And it's interesting that you mentioned the spiritual side of it because in one of our other episodes this month, because April is Stress Awareness Month, she was talking about the giving and the gratitude as part
Yeah.
of an aspect for managing your stress and helping you to work through stress. So I thought that tip and tool that was given in one of our
Hmm.
previous episodes this month was very powerful. And I'm glad you connected that because, I'm a spiritual person myself. So
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So when you're in the middle, or we're, or whoever, when we're in the middle of a stressful moment, which is
Yeah.
pretty often, right? Because and it takes over, like we so much into the middle of it, and life is just so fast that sometimes we don't even recognize when we're in the middle of it. But when you recognize that you're in the middle of it, what's one simple technique we can use at that very moment? A real practical, something they can remember to calm their mind and their body.
So it's called the psychological sigh. So breathing in, and as you breathe out, it's nature's way of letting out the built in stress. So breathe in deeply, take it in for a second, or you can do a double breath. So it's like breathing in and then breathing in again at the top, letting it out, and exhale for longer. And this triggers your parasympathetic system. So you go over into the nervous system that makes you feel safe, that makes your body feel calm. And when you're in high stressed environments, and especially for people of colour, navigating things like workspaces or just daily life, where emotions aren't always welcome. This is a subtle but powerful way to regulate the system without drawing attention to yourself. Another really good way is what I call butterfly tapping. So it's crossing your arms and then tapping left and right, left and right. And as you continue to do that, what that does is stimulate the alternative sides of your brain and shifts you into the parasympathetic system again and makes you feel so much calm, so much more safer, so much more grounded. And then when you've done that, think of three things of gratitude. So coming back to your previous speaker, when you practice gratitude, and some people think it's, just a bit rubbish and a bit corny. But
Mhm.
when you practice gratitude, it trains your mind to look for what's good when you feel safe, obviously. But it also, when you practice gratitude daily, you are 25% happier just by practicing gratitude.
That's good. And that's a big leap, 25% for
Yeah.
sure. So we're right in the middle of the episode. And before you give us some more juicy nuggets, and before I ask you a question, I want, when we come back from the break from the commercial, I want you to tell us more about is it parasympathetic? What is it?
Parasympathetic system.
Yeah, because we hear about education and everything, and when people hear those words, those clinical words, they like, huh? That's not me because I don't even know what it is, so I don't even have it. So when we come back from our quick commercial break, then I want you to educate us a little more on that phenomenal.
Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Do you ever feel like you're running on empty? Stuck in the same cycle? Or just trying to keep it all together? You're not alone. Stress, depression, burnout, and self-doubt are real, but they don't have to control your life. Imagine feeling empowered, balanced, and truly at peace. At Girl Talk Mental Health, we're diving deep into the real conversations that help you heal, grow, and thrive. From breaking stigmas to actionable strategies, we're here to empower you to take back control of your mental wellness and reclaim your time, your energy, and your joy. Follow us now for expert insights, uplifting conversations, and the tools you need to transform your life. It's time for real talk with real impact. Girl Talk Mental Health. Real conversations, real change. Follow us today at Virginia Dalmenning.
All right, welcome back to our second half of Girl Talk Mental Health with our very special guest, Miss Nicola Noel. And I'm probably messing it up, and I'm sorry, but it is a cute name, okay? Nicola Noel. That's why I'm getting tongue tied. But we just talked about some tips and tools about how to alleviate stress. And if you missed the first half, go back, grab your notebook, take some notes, read it over and over again, grab your girlfriend, boyfriend, homegirl, homeboy, and watch the episodes over and over and over and subscribe. Okay. So, Nicola, I'm sorry. We were talking about that P word. That see, I'm getting tongue tied already because tell us about that P word so people can know more about it and then they won't feel like, oh Lord, that's too scary.
So, your parasympathetic system is essentially just your nervous system that controls your body's rest and digest. So, it's unlike your other nervous system, which is your body's fight and flight response. This system slows your heart rate down, dilates your blood vessels, decreases your pupils, increases your digestive juices, helps your muscles relax, stimulates your saliva glands. It essentially puts more oxygen around your body. It essentially lets you know that you're safe and that you're resting and that your environment's fine. So when you're in that system, you can get on board your intellectual brain. So I always describe having two brains. You've got your intellectual brain and you've got your primitive brain. And in your intellectual brain, you can come up with the best possible decisions, come up with the best possible answers, be the best possible human being. But when you're in your primitive brain, you can only act from anger, depression, anxiety, slash sadness, or a combination of all three, and you're not the best person there, you're just in survival mode. So being in your parasympathetic system, you're in your intellectual brain and you are being the best person you can be.
That's good. Parasympathetic. Okay. Let me get that word right. And I'm a therapist, but hey, that's not my expertise. That's why I have other guest experts. See, I'm not the expert in everything. And when we have these our special guests or whatever, and their special niches and from different areas, you're from London, we have people from Australia, just all over the world. It helps to educate us because it just can't be in one area. It's different components and diversity. It's not just color and your job and all this stuff. It's also your knowledge, especially mental health, because there's just so many
Yes.
different ways that people can suffer or have challenges in the mental health world. So thank you for your diversity in that area. So let's move forward. So for those juggling, and it should be almost all of the world, juggling work, family, personal life, and it's not just women, right? How can they create a daily mindfulness routine that actually fits into a busy schedule?
Well, first and foremost, let's stop looking at the whole staircase, because what happens is people look at the whole staircase instead of the first small step they can take. So forget hour-long meditation sessions, they're good, I love them, but not everybody, ain't nobody got time for that. They don't. So instead, stack up these mindfulness habits bit by bit onto what you're doing. So it's called habit stacking. And so, if you've never heard of habit stacking, there's a wonderful book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Look it up, we'll tell you all about that. So, when we look at building those habits in, how about a shower reset? So, you jump in the shower, wash all the stress off you. Imagine that you are washing all the stress off you. Like a breakup shower. When you break up with a man or a girl or whoever, and you're like, I'm getting that shower and I'm taking my wig off and I'm washing that wig. I am washing that weave and I am getting him out. Goodbye. So that sort of shower. Communicate and check in. And like I said, we're so often on autopilot. Breathe. Do you know the majority of us do not even breathe properly or
Hmm.
take breaths in? We shallow breathe. Breathe properly. Mindful eating. So, how many of us are like, oh, I know what, at work, I can save time by eating you know, while I'm doing work. And now on their break, like, have your break, sit and just eat your food. Just be, or pause for a moment. The pause before reply. So often people ask us a question and we feel that we have to respond straight away. Even when we get a text message through that pings and we've got to answer straight away, we've got to be there. How about the whole pause and in between, get a life, get a hobby? Like, you just do not have to be so available and so on demand. So when you're constantly navigating survival mode, building small and safe mindfulness moments can be a game changer, whether it's gospel music, prayer, deep breaths before speaking up in a tough space, or tailoring your mindfulness to your lived experience. Plants, like I love plants. I do, I have a lot of them around. They bring me joy. What is it? Cross stitching, colouring. I go to a creative class where I build Legos. That's what this
Okay.
43-year-old does. She builds, so they're all with their canvases, like being all arty, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I have my Lego Simba."
I love the habit stacking. That is phenomenal. So let us get in your business a little bit. What are some things you have in your habit stacking? Or give us an example of your habit stacking.
So my habit stacking is I have got a bit rotund, bit chunky monkey, and you can't monitor or you what you can't see. You can't track what you can't see. So I have some scales in the bathroom, electronic scales, and they're behind the bathroom door. So when I walk into the bathroom, obviously the first thing you got to do is have your morning wee wee. So go to the toilet. And then on the way out, because the scales are behind the door, I'll pull the scales out, jump on and weigh myself, and therefore I've got my weight for the day. I journal more. So I'm not going to journal if my journal is in the living room and my and I have to write 3 things of gratitude when I wake up in the morning. So it's by the side of my bed. You
Mm-hmm.
want to drink more water. Say you want to hit your I don't know your metrics over there, but say you want to drink your 2 litres a day.
Mm-hmm.
um have you start the day drinking water, so have a glass of water by the side of your bed, so when you wake up in the morning, that's the first thing you do. You attach it to something that's already existing
Oh, okay, okay.
rather than
Mhm.
trying to implement something new. So then what happens is what we call synaptic pruning. So when you start continuously doing behaviors that you want, that serve you, because the brain doesn't know the difference between a good or a bad habit.
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
So when you start putting that in, what starts happening is old and the habits that don't serve you start falling away.
That's good. That's absolutely good. And it sounds like it's more being more intentional about what you do and where it's at so that it can be like what they say, out of sight, out of mind, right? Just like what you're saying with dating, out of sight, out of mind. And so just having those things intentionally in your path or in your view where your other habits are at, then it helps to like bring that bell. Oh, I need a journal. It's, I'm going by my bed and my journal is there. So that's good. That's very good. Okay, so we are closing up, but this is my favorite part, the spotlight question. So, are you ready for today's spotlight question?
I think so.
Here we go. So, what's one mindset shift or action that you believe could transform how we approach mental health and wellness in our daily lives?
You do not have to earn rest. Rest is resistance. The biggest mindset shift. Stop glorifying being busy. Stop
Mm,
wearing it. Stop wearing burnout like a badge of honor. Instead, you should be doing more of try. What if doing less makes you more effective? What if doing less helps you drop into your intuitive, creative side? When you do less and when you sit or when you go out for a walk, watch how you have downloads. Watch how the problems that you have been finding difficult, finding challenging, you suddenly start getting solutions for them. You get solutions for them because your nervous system is relaxed. We are not designed for constant flight or fight. You're
that's good.
allowed to just be.
Right. Being is best and burnout is not best. Like just relax, relate, release. That old saying from one of the little sitcom shows a long time ago that kind of stuck in my head. So that's good. So I'm just in wow, like I'm been tongue tied since you first came on the show. But I appreciate all of these nuggets that you've given us. I know the audience has. So tell them how they can connect with you, and if you have some type of special offer that they can tap into.
So they can connect with me at Brainworks Therapy on Instagram and Facebook. I also have a website, Brainworks Therapy, where they can get all my links and send me a message. And as for working with me, well, the wonderful thing about me is I work online. So I offer one-to-one solution focused hypnotherapy, transformational coaching, as well as therapy. So whether they want to come for a one-to-one session or whether they want to join my lovely group session where we rewire the mind, where we help them drop into their parasympathetic system, that's what I'm here for.
Okay, well, thank you. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you can stay abreast of what's going on in this Stress Awareness Month. Be sure to connect with Nicola. Be sure that you take notes, replay, share. Give us some comments. Let us know what the feedback is, what you need more of, and what you don't need more of, so that we are here to serve you all the time. And see you next week for our next episode, our next season on Girl Talk Mental Health.
Thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Remember, your mental health is your wealth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to at Virginia Del Manning.